Hey everyone, welcome back to New Rockstars News. It's a big week in the news of Game of Thrones. We got a big update courtesy of Entertainment Weekly, who did a whole write-up on the show's final season, and it's got some surprising level of detail in terms of the show's the final season's first episode. There's 6 episodes in the final season. They're all like movies, and what the final episode might look like, the cast reactions, and they gave us some big clues.
It's super cool.
It's probably the biggest week in Game of Thrones news since season 7, so we're going to go all into it, but we also got some more details on the Disney streaming service and a new show that's coming out there, an update on the movie Birds of Prey and Aquaman, and if you stick around to the end, I'll tell you a bit about Henry Cavill's sweet new hairdo.
Ooh, it sure is.
It's a do.
It's a do.
Not a don't. Well, welcome again to New Rockstars News. Sam and Maud. Sam is here. Maud is not. Philip and Maud are not able to join us this week, but I'm Erik Voss, Sam Bashor. We're going to give you all the details.
The dynamic
and
duo.
We're going to have some fun. Yeah, you guys been begging for
You've been
shipping hard.
Clawing at our door. You want
right.
it.
Yeah. Well, we're bringing it. But let's get started with our top story. Game of Thrones. And there's so much here. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I highly recommend you check out this Entertainment Weekly write-up because you just got to read the whole thing.
I almost missed it until you guys brought it up, and I sat down and I just read through it really quick. It's a good one, so we got you covered.
Yeah. But let's run through all the big details, all the highlights. First off, the season will open. Oh, and I should say, spoiler warning, in case you don't want to know, you got to insert that obligatory spoiler warning or they'll call you on it.
They'll get you.
Yeah, the watchdogs are everywhere. Okay, so the season will open at Winterfell with the arrival of Daenerys and her army, and no big surprise there. We knew that's where they were headed back after leaving the conference with Cersei at the end of season 7. And this is the quote from the writer of this. "What follows is a thrilling, intense intermingling of the characters." I'm imagining he's like a British elevator operator.
Oh, there you
a
go.
British lift operator,
There
as
you
I would
go.
say.
I was thinking Crypt Keeper.
Yeah. All elevators don't work in England, so they end up being crypts. I've just made that up. I hear the UK watchdogs coming my way. Now, okay, so an intense intermingling of characters, some of whom have never previously met, many who have messy histories, end quote. Now, there's a lot of different couples who that could be referring to.
Most people.
Pretty much all.
Yeah.
A lot of them haven't met. Arya hasn't met anyone
At all.
in half of the show. So imagine how Arya would feel meeting... well, she's met Tyrion Lannister, right? I think so. When they were
she
in
has in
season
the
1?
first season, but I don't think they really
crossed
shared
paths and,
scenes.
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
really talk a whole lot. But Arya has certainly not met anyone in Daenerys's group at all. I'm sure she has some opinions about that. But also, let's not forget, people who would be allies just by some of Daenerys's decisions last season after the battle of the loot train battle, where she torched all of the Lannister army. She executed Sam's father and his brother. Now, he hated his father.
Yeah.
He hated Mr. Tarly.
And I think he didn't like his family in general.
He generally didn't, but his brother was always fairly nice to him.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
It was intense. It was a little extreme.
Yeah.
Also, it was one
a
of
bit
the
much.
coolest shots in the entire show for
You
me.
see them turn to ash immediately. So I don't know. We'll see if Sam holds a grudge there. I'm sure he's going to say something about it. But the article specifically mentions that Sansa is not thrilled about Jon's knee bending.
That's really interesting because it's like, well, yeah, they have not been interacting. I mean, you did get some interaction since season 1 and 2, but it's like, I don't know why Sansa would be specifically upset about this. That's why I'm really excited to see what they do. I mean, there's not that many Starks left, so I get why she's a little testy about new people coming in.
Well, she didn't want him to go meet with Daenerys at Dragonstone because she felt that the last time a Stark tried to bend the knee to a Targaryen, he ended up sending us on a path of destruction. Like their grandfather was murdered by her grandfather.
Oh,
right?
good.
Yeah, by the Mad King.
There you go.
They went down to King's Landing and he got burned alive because that guy was crazy. Now, Daenerys isn't as mad, but she has made some brash decisions, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Daenerys and Jon's relationship is much... there's different kinds of heat there. Some incestual heat. So it's not that... we don't have to worry about that necessarily. But in terms of like loyalty and tribalism and team colors, right? You could imagine Sansa Stark being like, look, we all sacrificed so much to make you king in the North and to rally support. We crisscrossed around the northern countryside in the blink of an eye, really, in terms of relative time bending that they do on the show. But we sacrificed a lot to make you king, and now you're bending the knee to another monarch? That's kind of crappy. Why would you do that?
But I feel like she could get on board pretty quick when they're like, but yes, Cersei's not for us. It's like, oh, if we're all against her, then maybe we actually might have a chance of taking out the Lannisters once and for all.
Yeah,
minus Tyrion.
Yeah, minus Tyrion. And they kind of made this alliance with Cersei at the end of season 7.
Barely.
We found out Cersei was like, yeah. I don't make alliances after they left. So I could imagine Sansa maybe spreading some doubt. Like, listen, whatever assurances you got from that Lannister down south, don't listen to her. And there was that one brief shot that we got in the HBO promo, right, a couple months ago of like all of our new shows. And there was one shot from Game of Thrones of like Sansa hugging Jon and giving that cold, icy stare to someone.
Nice.
It sounds like that's probably going to be Daenerys. Right?
I'm excited to see where Jaime's at with all of this. I know we didn't bring him up, but it's that since him leaving and him finally making that decision, it's just like this show did so much work to make him a good guy. I'm wondering where he's going to end up, especially when he runs into Arya.
Right.
Specifically, I'm like, this is going to be that scene specifically. I think it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
Those two characters arguably have changed the most out of everyone.
Yeah.
Like Jon and Daenerys have certainly gone on their hero's journey, but in terms of their values, I would say they're roughly, where they were from season 2 on. They kind of became badasses by the end of season 1, and they've kind of just gone further and further on trajectory, and physically have changed in terms of status and power have changed. But in terms of like their values, like I would say Jaime and Arya have at several different points reached several different areas on their arcs. You know, like Arya went from wanting to join the Faceless Men to betraying them to kind of being a rogue assassin who's kind of mad at her sister to coming to terms with her sister when she arrived back at Winterfell. And then Jaime has gone different points to having this connection, this platonic connection with Brienne, maybe more.
Maybe more. Which would make
Yeah.
me happy, but I'm never allowed to be happy with. I mean, most people aren't allowed to be happy on this show anyway, so.
Yeah, everyone is on constant verge of heartbreak thanks to George R.R. Martin, but that's why we love this show. But let's we got some more details from this story. The article also mentions an episode directed by Miguel Sapochnik, and this is the guy who did Battle of the Bastards. He's like one of the best, most talented directors that they have in their lineup. And according to this article, it's going to be a huge battle between the living and the dead. And according to the article, this has been something that they've been dreaming of since the very first episode. And they knew that from George R. R. Martin, this is kind of where the show was going.
Great shot, by the way. That's immediately what popped in my brain. I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait for Dragon versus Dragon. It's going to blow my mind.
Ice Dragon versus Fire Dragon,
so cool.
And the article seemed to suggest it's going to take place at Winterfell. They've expanded the Winterfell set so that it actually is like the real size of a city rather than just like a courtyard. And the White Walkers, of course, coming from the north. It's probably going to be their first step after breaching the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's other big cities. There's Castle Black further down the wall, but there's other where the Karstarks live. There's Carhold. There's other stops that they can get to before. But really, if you're going to build one set and have a huge battle there, why not make it
the one
Winterfell?
we care about is Winterfell. I know if you want to stretch it out a little bit, but it's the last season. Please don't stretch anything out. Just go straight to the meat of the story.
And there's a lot of payoff that we're kind of hoping for. But what I like about this, because I heard a lot of things about, there's going to be a big battle. And, as much as I love Battle of the Bastards and the battle at Blackwater, I think people think like big battle. They think like Lord of the Rings, big like prairie that everyone's just huge waves of soldiers.
Yeah.
To me, sometimes I check out, and I was glad to read that the showrunners felt the same way. They're like, if you just pitch massive battle of just like walls of people slamming against each other, sometimes that can feel boring. And what they've done really well in Battle of the Bastards and the Blackwater Bay battle, they specifically show threads within it you see it from specific points of view. So it feels like there's different intercutting things that you can check in with this character, and there's on this ground level versus an aerial level,
when
from different angles.
When John's getting trampled in the mud, I was trampled one time when I was a kid because we were scared at a after school program and kids like ran over me. So that I have like, it's like a recurring nightmare about that.
What school did you go to? Where
it was
driving school?
It was a Christian school, so they saw one scary thing and they're like, "Demon!" and they ran. They ran all over me. But no, with that specific feeling, I was like, I kind of need to pause this scene for just a second. But no, that's a really good point. It's very specific. You're seeing how these like pick 5 characters. This is how they're affected, and you get a few aerial shots every once in a while to give you a picture of the scale. It's awesome.
Yeah. And it sounds like these point of view are going to be so well defined with each of the characters that they cut to that it's going to feel like its own genre, which is an interesting way to describe it in this article. Like, it's going to feel like a horror film if you cut to one character who's like in the darkness, because it sounds like they shot a lot of this at nighttime. Nice. There was that headline that we saw that like for 55 nights they shot outdoor shots for some battle. I don't know if it's this battle, but just imagine like White Walkers in the darkness, just like bursting out at you and taking you, and so you disappear in the darkness. Whereas another person, it kind of ends up being like a straight up medieval battle. So
you get a medieval battle, you get your action, you get your like superhero type hero going through.
You
there.
get your slapstick comedy.
Yeah,
you get your Notebook romance.
And you gotta have one animated segment, just one. I'd love to see
the Tarantino Kill Bill thing like turns into
that's
an
where the dragons come
thing.
from. It's like it becomes like Cuphead cartoons.
Yeah. Well, last detail that we want to talk about is the article offered up a couple teases of the series finale. And it will include, according to the writer, a set that we have never seen before, characters that the writer did not expect to see. And the writer said that while looking around, he was able to gradually begin to piece together what had transpired in Westeros over the previous 5 episodes of that season to figure out like how the puzzle pieces could come together for this finale. And he started to freak out.
Cool.
By just like kind of retroactively doing the math on it.
Nice.
So, I don't know. On what's your general excitement level?
Well, I got a question for you, all right? On a scale of 1 to Clegane Bowl, how excited are you for Game of Thrones Season 8?
Yeah, can we Clegane Bowl to the power of Clegane Bowl?
Interesting, yeah.
Well, I mean, Clegane
Double
Bowl,
it up, yeah.
I kind of don't want to see Clegane Bowl now, because that's something that, like, in the Reddit comments, people were like, oh, are we going to see Clegane Bowl? It's like, what you're describing to me now sounds way more exciting than just seeing if these two brothers who hate each other end up having a fight.
I do kind of want to see them fight side by side.
I won't be disappointed. Oh, side by side,
just
like
for a second.
They lock their battle axes and then they turn back to back and start Rey and Kyloing.
It'd be so weird because that's just like meat running around at this point for the mountain. It's not like a person anymore. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least turn it on its head. The show does a good job with that. I do want to see it, but aren't
all characters just meat in George R. R. Martin's eyes, ready to be slaughtered?
Yes, of course.
Themes, symbols, allusions.
There you go. Those are important. But no, I'm. So I hopped into the show last year because I was one of those cool people who was like, Game of Thrones, and then I watched it all, and I was like, all right, I was annoying before. I get it. All right, I understand. And so it was. I don't even know how to even build my expectations, so I'm just not going to. I'm not gonna, because I'm just gonna go into this and allow these storytellers to tell me something that's fully original to them. It honors what George R.R. has started, and I hope our characters can at least end up 50% happy.
Yeah.
That's all I want, really.
And we want a bittersweet ending. You know, we don't want something that's just that gives us everything we want. You know, Game of Thrones has never been something that's truly just about fan service. And I think when people have been less excited about certain moments on the show, certain episodes, it's when they have tried to be too like, we're going to give you everything you want with this moment right now. It's usually better when we walk away a little disappointed or a little stung when we feel we have to limp out of an episode.
Can we get rid of that relationship? I know everyone likes it a lot with Daenerys and John. Their aunt and
yeah, they really should not live happily ever after.
No,
right? That would be contradictory to the show's central core message.
I go on a couple shows and people are like, no, like it's like different there, and I'm like, please stop saying that. Like that's
right. No, it's not the same.
It's not the same. We can't keep saying that. That's gross. We said that Jaime and Cersei are gross. So that's gross too. That's super gross.
I don't want to be too gross, so I'm going to say this happened anecdotally from someone who told me. A friend of mine said that he has noticed recently while going on on pornographic websites that a lot of the related recommended videos have been incest themed.
Oh,
There's
cool.
and I have seen, because every year Pornhub posts its like #1 top genres. Incest
great.
has spiked in recent years in terms of like the genre of porn. I think Game of Thrones is normalizing incest in a weird way, and it's not like, look, you're into what you're into. I don't want to kink shame anyone, but like, it's not good for your child. It's there's a lot of genetic problems when you start mixing the gene pools like that.
Icky.
You know, we saw what happened with the Mad King, right? It was a product of incest. We saw what happened with Joffrey, a product of incest on the show. So let's not look at it as a positive thing. Let's all try to have Tyrion's reaction on the boat to the boat sex. He did not look happy about that.
He did not look
happy. He's a
surrogate
proxy for us. We should feel how Tyrion feels about that pairing. We should not ship them. But actually, let's move on to more Game of Thrones news, because it wasn't just for the show's final season. As sad as we may be that the show's ending, the prequel series is coming out. At least one of them, the show tentatively titled The Long Night. So this is a show that sounds like it's taking place in the Age of Heroes, right? And they announced casting for 2 of its leads. Naomi Watts will be playing, quote, a charismatic socialite hiding a dark secret.
That's everybody.
I love that description. Yeah, that's definitely everybody. The 2 of us.
Yeah.
For everyone, right?
That's everybody.
Because what is a socialite? It sounds like such a 1920s Gatsby term.
Yeah.
Is a secretive socialite, charismatic, hiding a dark secret. I decided to pull up my bloomers this season. Oops, that's my secret. Lady Grantham. Right? But who is a socialite in the world of Game of Thrones?
Great voice, by the way.
I'll be using it all
fan.
throughout the episode. The idea of a socialite, if you look at the Age of Heroes, I don't know if this is going to take place specifically up north on the land of Westeros or something around the Doom of Valyria. I know there's another prequel series in the work. I don't. That could be talking about that. But, back when we talk about the Valyrian culture, that's like Rome. That's like ancient Rome. And there were social classes. That's where the Targaryens originated from Valyria, from the Doom of Valyria. And that's very interesting to see like the class structure of that before the world comes to an end. So we'll see if that's what the socialite referred to there. Well, you always want some political drama, some sass, some shade being thrown.
And I'm a big fan of Naomi. I'm excited to see what they do with her character. Yeah,
she's awesome. They've also announced Josh Whitehouse, a British actor. He's going to be playing a lead role. All the details of the character are still being kept under wraps.
He sure looks like a stand-in for Jamie, though. So maybe that means something.
Yeah. There he is. He looks more like a socialite. Yes.
Indubitably.
Now, do we
said that word wrong?
Indubitably. I think with Naomi Watts' blonde hair, my first go-to thing is that she's playing some kind of member of the Targaryen family. There's also some thoughts that we might be seeing some roots of the Lannister family with Lan the Clever.
I thought that when I first looked at her, I was like, I can see that a little bit, but also blue eyes, so maybe like Targaryen as well. Like you can see that as well. But with our boy over here, honestly, that could be just about anybody. I'm not really
a new character.
A new character, but I am interested to see. I mean, I wish they would just give us just a little bit more detail about this. I would expect probably like a teaser or a trailer in the finale of this season, like something like stay after the credits for. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that'd be great. My guess is that they're going to use the ratings blockbuster time that they're going to have with this summer for Game of Thrones to spin off to Watchmen, because Watchmen's going to be their new show next fall, and I think that's what they're going to try to get us excited about. But yeah, I'd be what I hope, because it's rare that spin-offs work. I think it's hard for TV to do a prequel series in a way that feels satisfying. I think Better Call Saul has been like an example of one that has worked.
The best example. It has not reached the heights that Breaking Bad has in terms of popularity. Like you hear people talk about it and they're the diehard fans, but like 100%. I don't know how they're able to keep people on for this long, but it's definitely an example of something that works.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I'd kind of want this show before I want Watchmen, but that's just a different opinion, I think.
Well, I know that I like the property of Game of Thrones. I want to see more stories in Westeros. I've been wanting to see more stories in Westeros, and the Duncan Egg stories from George R. R. Martin are fascinating. So I think and he is executive producing this new one, so his voice is still going to be attached to it. I'd rather have him finish book 6 and book 7. But if we're going to get more Game of Thrones TV, I'd rather have him be attached to it than not. But yeah, I think this could really work. And I of the two ideas of the Age of Heroes versus like something taking place in Old Valyria, I think I've always been interested in the Doom of Valyria.
Yeah, same.
I've always wanted to see that dramatized. So I hope that
for me, for not like doing like, because you did the breakdowns and whatnot. Any like research I've ever done for this is very shallow. I've never really like taken a dive into it, and also I feel like there isn't too much information about it, so there's a lot of room for the writers to really open it up and create a new world, a world that's supposed to be Valyria sounds like it's magical. Basically, it is right. Like for the most part, like it sounds like a place that we actually would want to visit more than. I don't want to go back to Bravos. Please don't make me go back there. I know the bank's there and the bank and the.
You know what? Some high stakes banking drama with the CDCs and loans. Guys, this is why our lives are screwed. It's because banking is boring.
There you go. We got to figure out how to make it more interesting. No, Doom of Valyria, please and thank you. Amen.
I think what is exciting about Valyria is like it's that whole idea of an entire civilization existing before a natural calamity. And there's been stories about like, did aliens help the Egyptians build the pyramids? This whole idea of the pyramids were built after the ice ages, but the ice ages wiped out whatever was there before. The dinosaurs. I want to see the land before time. Let us know what your most. We got to move on. But there's a lot more coming from the world of Game of Thrones. So along with a final climactic season, we're going to be getting a whole new world beginning. But let's move on to our trivia question, guys. And as always, the stakes of this, GIF of shame. Losers got to turn into an animated GIF and look like a big old dum-dum.
Oh, cool.
But here's a question this week. Sam, are you ready?
Thank you. But I've never been more ready.
In Game of Thrones lore, the Age of Heroes is when many of our favorite houses were founded. For example, House Stark was founded by Bran the Builder. Who founded House Lannister? Okay, all of our answers are here in the bucket of where we our litter bucket or bucket. 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 So all our answers there at the end of the episode. We'll reveal the answer to the trivia question. Our winner will do our goodbyes. Our loser will join the GIF of shame. And Sam, you've been a regular, frequent.
Oh yes, I'm a regular member. It's just me.
Yeah, you're the diamond membership of. Yeah.
Thank you.
What else happened this week? It's been a big week of news.
Oh, it has been. Buckle up, kids. Because we've got an art book coming. It is cooler than you think. Next week, Tuesday, November 6th, Marvel's Avengers Infinity War. The art of the movie will be released. It's awesome. It's the whole book of concept art. You got character art, production photos, really cool stuff. I have about 4 of these at home, and I've definitely saved a space for this one. I'm very excited. Black Panther as well. It's a good one. A lot of Pixar ones. Big fan of. But I'm excited to check this out and see all the stuff that they were maybe going to put or do differently in the movie. Like you can see here, you got Cap with slightly shorter hair. He also got like a hip scarf. Oh boy. You know what? He just it's a little nippy outside. It's a balmy
fall weather.
It's a balmy 60 degrees. He's feeling an espresso. He's
you got your pumpkin spice cap there.
There you go.
Oh boy.
That's how I prefer my cap. But he's got a hell of a beard.
Yeah. This is great. Did you just censor yourself for saying hell?
I did.
That's not bad.
I didn't know. I was being careful. But Erik, sorry, I was distracted by the pumpkin spice. What are you most excited about when it comes to this book? Because we're going to be getting a lot more details. I'm excited to see alternate costumes. I always love the Guardians books in particular because I like the way that James Gunn, the art team, would try to realize these cosmic characters in different ways. Like Rocket, I always had cool designs. Gamora was the one that was always like, what are you going to actually do with him? And Drax, because Drax is so simplistic in the comics. It's just all ice and he's green. And now they really brought him to life and made him very unique. And when it comes to Gamora, they added cybernetic enhancements and then you can actually see them. But I'm actually really excited to see the other ways they thought of bringing like the Infinity Gauntlet to life, like what other design, because it has like scarabs and whatnot on it. And
cool there's
designs.
All kinds of ancient runes on it. It's fascinating because when you watch Infinity War, one of the things I loved about it is the production design. Like they actually came up with some very clever ways to depict the action, which you don't always see in these big climactic battles. We've seen movies where they don't do it well. Infinity War really did pull it off. In these battles, they have like this epic scale to them that feels unique to the characters. Like that one-on-one duel between Doctor Strange and Thanos. They're just firing spells at each other. And it feels like, honestly, an even better version of the Dumbledore-Voldemort fight in Order of the Phoenix, where they had the elements, they had the earth, wind, water, fire. Here, they were kind of doing that. He was firing like a mirror dimension that turned into a black hole. It honestly felt like Marvel said to them, the sky's the limit when it comes to our visual effects budget. Whatever crazy crap you want these characters to do, we can pull it off. And they did. Like, we got Iron Spider. In this concept art, you can see Iron Man has this, like, lobster claw thing. Like a pincer grip, maybe, to wrap around the Infinity Gauntlet and yank it off.
And you got Nebula there. You got Mantis as well. Like, there's a lot of cool things. And you get to see, right off the bat, you see Star-Lord jumping on the little, what do they call those? The Mandela's a light? I think that's something like that. There's a couple different names from the
frisbees.
The frisbees, the magic frisbees.
Technical term.
Yeah, but I am excited to see the other ways they want to interpret the characters. Like I remember in one of the pitches, the Russos were like, "Oh, we didn't want Cap to show up until the last second of this movie," and I was like, Man, that would have been awesome. How did you picture that happening? And I hope that's in the book as well.
Yeah, I think I think the idea was they wanted his entrance to be like Thor's entrance. How that was a big like applause moment in Infinity War's first screening. Cap, and I think a lot of test audiences was like, we wanted more Cap in this movie, so they're like, all right, we'll put him in the first part of the movie as well.
He still gets a pretty cool entrance. He gets a very great ominous.
Get the music. There was another image from the concept art that I saw that had like Doctor Strange putting like his finger on Thanos, like right in like his third eye area, and putting Thanos in a trance. And I don't know if that they're gonna have Doctor Strange do that instead of Mantis, and that's how he's gonna be put in that kind of state of paralysis, the hypnotism. But it also made me think like, was part of Doctor Strange's plan at some point to like read Thanos' thoughts, and maybe that's how they were gonna discover what he did to Gamora. There's just a lot of because it reminded me a lot of when the Ancient One does that to Strange. He's like, open your eye. In Doctor Strange, and he zips through the magical mystery tour of the different realities. Maybe the plan was to do that with Thanos.
Just melt his brain with like a psychedelic trip. I think Thanos won't be able to control that. I don't think he would be. Yeah. But
or
maybe,
it would have been struggle, right? He just got the reality stone. Maybe that's how he would have to like use that to like grab onto the edge of a reality and like fly back in. Because there was also concept art of like Thanos having to fight in some like wormhole portal looking thing of like it's real trippy stuff. And I didn't know if that was just part of like when Doctor Strange threw the mirror dimension at him and then he turned into a black hole and fired it back at him. We were going to see some version of that, and that's what that art was depicting, as opposed to them fighting through different Rick and Morty style dimensions.
There you go. Which, hey, would have been fun. But I would have. That's what I wanted the whole movie to be. But no, I think most of all, I'm excited to see, now that you bring it up, the Doctor Strange magic. I want to see how they interpret that. I want to see what the Russos do with that, or what they wanted to do with that, because they just have such a good knack at nailing these characters. I'm like, well, how else did you see this character coming to life in your movie?
You know what's crazy is like Doctor Strange has been the most like beneficial gift giver in terms of like different theories. The most unopened book, I would say. Like the movie came, not everyone was that. I liked the movie, but not everyone holds Doctor Strange in like their Marvel top 5. Let's say. Yeah. It's like, he's here. He introduced the Time Stone. We're good. But like, Doctor Strange's abilities are so fascinating, and the way he looks at the universe and the cosmos is unlike any other character. So this whole idea of like Doctor Strange's plan has given us like endless things to talk about on this channel.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Doctor Strange. So he's the character I want to explore the most, or at least, the whole idea of the mystic arts in Avengers 4. I think there's a lot of untapped potential.
Ooh. Yeah. Also, alternate looks for Bucky's arm would be really down to see what other things they came up with.
You got the new arm, yeah.
We got the blue and the gold. Not bad. Not bad, but I would like to see some alternatives also when we get into that solo series. I wouldn't mind seeing if, like, what if he's got interchangeable arms? Why not?
Well, let us know what you think about this art book, or what other details did you spot in the comments below. We got some time before we'll get an Avengers 4 trailer by the end of this year, but we got some reading to do before that happens, it sounds like. But you mentioned the Disney streaming show news that we got this week. This Disney streaming service, it's going to be coming out sometime in 2019. Last week we learned that there was a bigger and better series than that rumored Nick Fury show, but this week we found out, we think what it is, or one of them maybe, apparently a Falcon Winter Soldier limited series is in the works. Malcolm Spellman is going to be running the show. He's an Empire writer. He's written a bunch of other stuff. Very, very talented guy. Now, this Falcon Winter Soldier limited series and the Loki Scarlet Witch limited series would both be produced by Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios and have sizable budgets. Great news.
Oh, that makes me feel good.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So what do you think this show would focus on? Like, what specifically about Falcon and Bucky Barnes as characters? Like, what do they have in common other than, you would say, being BFFs with Captain America?
By the way, I do have a little tidbit I learned this week about the Scarlet Witch show. But focusing on this question, when it comes to Falcon and Bucky Barnes, they're both characters that haven't actually spent that much time together. Yeah. Even when they were on the run, Bucky was spending his time in Wakanda recovering. They only spent maybe like a day, 2 days together.
In Civil War, they were on a road trip, and then they tried to fight Spider-Man together, and that's it. But
they had a really great rapport immediately. So when it comes to this, there's a recent retelling, or they are new installment in Tales of Suspense, which is a classic Marvel title when it comes to spy stories. And it was Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier teaming up to find Black Widow because she was on the run. Don't need to get into comic reasons of what was happening, but it was interesting to see these two characters going after a spy, like a top-level spy. So I would like to see these two go into like government espionage or something like that.
Yeah.
Like a good spy story that would take place in, like, pick a random country or have it take place over multiple countries. Like having these two in like London, that'd be really cool.
That sounds like a great idea, because if you think, these two were introduced in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which was an espionage film, one of the best Marvel movies. And I think some limited series that's in that tone of them like kind of uncovering some other government secret or some kind of cover up or some old like Soviet espionage dealing with Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow would be fascinating.
I wouldn't mind if I don't know, this character is pretty much dead, but Armin Zola, he was in Winter Soldier when he was downloading his brain.
He's in computer form somewhere.
He was a virus in the Inside Project. If somebody hacked into Bucky's arm, I think that'd be really cool. So it's like he starts getting like messages or something, and they kind of help bring Armin Zola back. That could be a fun way of doing it, like playing with Cap's villains. They can play with basically anybody, which is really cool. And since the MCU, there's so many smaller characters that they would never have time to deal with. But we were also talking before we were recording, but limited series, great. Those are great words. Those are good key words. I'm fine with them never doing another 13-episode series of anything unless they're like 20-minute episodes. Then just make a movie. You don't need to split them up like that. But I was talking with a friend, and we threw out the idea of doing a kind of like Sherlock BBC, where you get 3 2-hour episodes, so you're getting 3 movies. And I'm like, man, that's actually a really cool. Also, War Machine would be another character that could be really cool with this. I would like you going with spies. And also, they both have military backgrounds. Maybe it's a war story, something like that. There's a lot of avenues you can go, and if they have the money to support it, get like A+ casting for your villain.
Get some cameos from the rest of it. I think what's really exciting about this series, if you compare it to the Scarlet Witch Loki series, it sounds like we have 2 limited series, one of which will deal with characters with more like cosmic, mystic powers, and 2 characters who are both former soldiers in the world of espionage. So I have one series that's just super grounded and focusing on that side of the universe, and another series that focuses on characters going through like different realms and dealing with really bizarre, colorful characters. Sounds like a fun pairing.
I just thought about a big Captain America villain that we could never get, I would say, until now, is MODOK. And if you've ever looked at him, he's just a head, a giant head, about the size of a minivan floating around with little arms. There's a way to adapt to not make him look ridiculous, but he is a very popular Captain America villain. That could be a way, if you give him the time for the audience to get to know them, kind of like how Kingpin can get, like, they can unfold that character and really dive into like who he is, like Purple Man as well in the Netflix series. You might have enough time and enough room, enough budget to make that character work. I don't know if I want it, but you could do it. He's unbelievably intelligent, and he's got the tech to go up against these guys, and it would be interesting to see these guys have to take them down. Or at some point, I wouldn't mind if one of them dressed up as Captain America. Wouldn't be mad.
One of them gets to be called Captain America now.
Or has somebody as a shield.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be mad about it. Also, I heard this week about, it was a rumor that came out that Scarlet Witch, that series, is looking to have one of the other main Marvel characters, like Avengers, being a co-star in that. So everyone's throwing out Vision immediately. Yeah. They're like, he's probably fine. They'll download him into an iPod or something. It'll be good. Like, yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah. I wouldn't mind that. I would like to see that coupling. Or maybe you can throw in like Doctor Strange as like a mystic guide of teaching her how to use her magic if they want to go that direction. Quicksilver, maybe bringing him back. There's a lot of avenues you can go with that as well. These shows have the potential to be unbelievably amazing. And then The Mandalorian looks amazing from Jon Favreau, but this is the stuff this stuff works. I'm very excited.
This new Disney streaming service seems to be really doing it right by like identifying what properties are really going to make people want to pay whatever it is a month. $8, $12, $20. I don't know.
30.
Take my money. Just take it all. Take it all, Disney. But let us know what you're most excited about with the series in the comments below. It looks like there's some more news that came out this week, right?
If I may, this week it was announced that Ewan McGregor will be playing the villain Black Mask in the upcoming Birds of Prey movie. So cool. And if you guys don't know, here's the synopsis for that film. So buckle up. After splitting up with the Joker, Harley Quinn, and 3 other female superheroes, Black Canary, Huntress, and Renee Montoya come together to save the life of a little girl, Cassandra Cain, from an evil crime lord. Now that crime lord, of course, is Black Mask. I think this is actually genuinely good news. He's a great actor. I've always been a big fan.
Yeah.
I know Moulin Rouge has problems. I do love him in it, even though he's a baby man. And also, he doesn't often play a bad guy, even though he did in Fargo. But Erik, how excited are you? Do you think this is a good choice?
I think it's a great choice. Yeah. And like we're talking like Fargo season 3, which it's an excellent show. If you're looking for just like a really well constructed show, Noah Hawley's work on that. Every season feels like a different anthology. It's fantastic. Season 3, Ewan McGregor plays brothers. He plays twin brothers.
Whoa.
Plays both characters, and they're both evil and dastardly in different ways, and the whole theme of that season is what makes like someone a bad person, because like it starts with him playing like he has a brother who's like really down on his luck. He's like a parole officer guy, and he's like kind of a bum. He's overweight. He's rough, but he kind of seems like a scummy guy. And his brother is a very successful businessman, but like throughout the season you see a switch in their morality, and his brother become the rich successful brother is such a rotten souled person. So like you can see him play two sides, two split personalities of like different takes on what evil is. And with the character of Black Mask, his whole thing is like identity and kind of a split personality in some versions of the comics. So I think he really is a perfect choice for this movie. And like I'm always down for Ewan to get more work.
This is interesting also, this picture that you guys picked, because it's the one where he had like a leather number for a second, where he had like the zipper on his mouth.
Yeah, kind of the what's it, the one from Pulp Fiction?
Like a gimp mask a little bit. Because usually it's like, you guys can correct me, because this is one of those costume things that has changed just depending on who's writing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like the wood from his father's coffin.
The ebony from, he chiseled it out.
And sometimes it's like melted to his face, which makes zero sense.
Didn't he get struck by lightning at some point and it like, it's part of me now.
Which, I'm not against, but also a little fun fact: casting director of Birds of Prey. I think it's fair to speculate is a big fan of Fargo, like you mentioned, because Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's playing Huntress, is in this movie as well. So it's like, hey, you know, Fargo's shocking. FX usually is really good at casting, so maybe dip into that pool. They got some good ideas. Also, Ewan McGregor. I like seeing more of him. I'm a big fan of him, and I feel like he kind of took a break for just a little bit from acting. I like him coming back. I like his resurgence. So, and also just this movie is turning out to be super compelling. Also, Cassandra Cain. Please shout out Cassandra Cain in the comments, because she's one of my favorite characters. She's so compelling. She should be a Robin in one of the movies, and don't do the. I know the boy Robins are fun, and you can have a lot of stories. Cassandra Cain, though, as Batgirl, is so cool. Anyways.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the brighter spots on the DC movie lineup in the future. We keep hearing more and more updates about this. I'm excited about the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. Didn't think I would be.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing about it, which is way too much for a movie that's still in production, between that and this Birds of Prey movie, I think it could be definitely one of the brighter spots. And now with James Gunn joining the team with Suicide Squad 2, I don't know. I think the DC fans out there have had a rough patch in terms of their favorite properties not being that well adapted.
Yeah, and those extras who got locked in that subway and started peeing everywhere on the set of the Joker.
Bright spots. Bright spots.
Bright spots, everybody. Come on. Yay. Smiles, kids.
Okay, let's get to some other just quick news updates for what else happened this week. So we got our first look at Mr. Henry Cavill in The Witcher. He's got kind of a Legolas thing going on here. Look at that. Ooh, boy. Man, look at those eyes, too.
Yeah. A lot of people online like to point out that he doesn't have a beard like in the most recent game, and then other people like to point out that in the books he doesn't have a beard. Right, so there's an acknowledgement to that.
Yep.
There you go.
We also got an announcement for It Chapter 2, release date of September 6, 2019. That's actually the same weekend that the first It chapter came out in 2017.
Nice.
That movie looks super exciting from the casting announcements that they've had. It sounds like they asked the young actors from the first movie what adult actors they want to have to play the adult versions of themselves, and they kind of got a lot of them to do it.
They did some good.
Like Bill Hader's playing the Finn Wolfhard character growing up, and that was his dream pick for it. For Richie.
James McAvoy and Bill Hader in a scene together. I just feel like that's it's so interesting. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. We also learned that Aquaman will include a lot of flashbacks to the hero's past.
Oh.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Origin, sure. Yep.
Yeah,
and a
why
few
not?
updates on things we've covered previous episodes. Actually, James Gunn, they announced he's also directing Suicide Squad 2. Not a big surprise. Like, if you're bringing a guy, he's a talented director in addition to a talented writer. So if you're going to bring him on, might as well get everything out of him. And according to Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, Wilson Fisk from Daredevil, he has said that Netflix has no intention of canceling Daredevil. I guess people are worried with Iron Fist, with Luke Cage getting canceled as Daredevil next on the chopping block.
There's a website out there that the way that they somehow got numbers, but they're not like official Netflix numbers. They're like Netflix or Daredevil season 3 has half the viewership of season 2, and I'm like, well, you don't actually. As far as I could tell from what I read, it didn't seem like the most concrete thing.
Yeah, you can't find their actual
Don't get
ratings.
too sad yet.
Yeah, they don't release it. They're super secretive about what the ratings are because they're like, they're from tech companies. They're not like movie studios who like to brag about what ratings their things get. They're like, no, we are nerds. We do not need to release how many people are consuming our content. It's only for us to decide what our algorithms will be going forward. And so we just have to go off of like Google search trends and that kind of stuff, which, yeah, I mean, maybe fewer people are searching for it on Google, but that doesn't necessarily tell you how many people on Netflix are watching something.
True.
Yeah, so don't trust the numbers out there. But I also wouldn't trust actors being asked whether or not what their show's future is. They don't know. They get a call like a couple months ahead of time.
He just wants to keep playing Kingpin. He just wants to do that.
Yeah, and why not? He's great in it. It's been a
great.
great role for him.
Big baby
but
man.
Yeah, he doesn't know if Netflix plans on doing that. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Disney has their own streaming service. Who knows what plugs Marvel is actually pulling? But we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see him again in the role. But let's move on to our New York News lightning round. It's only 2 of us right now.
Bing bong. But here we go. Get ready, because this is my favorite segment from the show. Now, it's you guys know the drill for the new Rockstars News lightning round. You guys tweet us your questions. I'm going to fire them at my co-host, and my co-host is going to fire them right back at me. Bing bong. And we've got to answer them as quickly and without hesitation as possible. Well, Eric, you ready?
I'm ready, Sam.
All right, 3, 2, 1. We got one from Mars Terry. What superhero other than Spider-Man should get a turn at being a musical?
I would like to see a Hulk
Lightning.
musical. From Rick and Morty, Hulk musical, right?
It's so sad. Gotta have the music from the show.
Sam at JoshStick118 wants to know, what video game do you think would work well as a Netflix series? Than Witcher.
BioShock.
Oh yeah.
Do the one in the air or in the water? You call it. Eric from Sunday Duck. What is your favorite book to movie adaptation?
Book to movie Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
There's 3 of those. Amazing. Best done. Only good one. Right?
good
Okay,
one.
Sam. Truce Gordon wants to know, what do you think the Avengers would dress up as for Halloween?
Let's go with the classic ones. Iron Man, probably Robert Downey Jr. You got Chris Evans, or you got Captain America. He'd probably go as Statue of Liberty. You got Scarlet.
So Iron Man would dress up as Robert
Downey
Jr.,
Jr., which
Okay.
is a great joke from the Ultimate Comics. They like even cast themselves, and they cast Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Anyways, you could have Hulk going as you could have him going as Clifford. That'd be a good one. Clifford's a big red dog. Hawkeye, you could have him going as Harvey Birdman.
Sure, from Birdman.
The lawyer.
Yes,
from
sorry.
Ghost, Space
Yes.
Ghost. There you go. There you go. Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, is going to go as the Wendy's logo.
That's great. It's Wendy.
There we go. We got anybody else?
No, Thor.
Thor's going to go as any cast member from Point Break. There you go.
Love these multi-part questions.
Thank you. Easy to think of. Eric from Joel Creamer 13.
Hey, Joel.
Favorite moment on New Rockstars.
Favorite moment on New Rockstars ever?
Yes.
Oh, that's a toughie. Lightning. I liked when I did the New Year's Baby last year, our final episode of New Rockstars.
Devin likes that one a lot.
2017. He's coming back this year, babies. Hold on to your diapers.
I'm a big fan of Tank.
At Rob Baker wants to know, would you prefer a buddy cop, rom-com, or straight action vibe from the Winter Soldier Falcon series?
Buddy cop, rom-com.
Or straight action. Straight action. We don't want any
goofing around.
Yeah.
No representation. Buddy cop.
Buddy cop.
I want them joshing each other. Hey, you came in late today, all right?
We're both rookies.
This is crime, and we got to stop it. This is for both of us from Woza HP. Describe your morning routine, starting with Eric. because I got to think about it.
My morning routine, I brush my teeth. I make a list of everything I have to do for the day, and I look at 5:38 Senate projections, and I feel really depressed. That's my morning routine in early November 2018.
Oh boy, well, I wake up at a balmy 6 a.m., go back to sleep till 9:30, so I basically blew the day. And then I wake up and I simultaneously floss with a water pick, brush my teeth, wash my hair, wash my body all in the shower. I get out in about 2 minutes. It's pretty good. Then I wear basically the same clothes all week. And then I got a little... and then I have coffee. Coffee. Well, thanks everybody for sending those in.
These are good questions. This was fun.
Make sure you're following @NewRockstars on Twitter so you can send us your questions. That's the only way we can find them.
Yeah. Well, now it comes to the time for our 15-second shout-outs. Each of us has 15 seconds to shout out, plug, ramble about anything we want. Sam, do you got anything you want to share?
Yes, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, if you go to twitch.tv/PlayNoggin, that's Noggin, I do a live show, 4 p.m. PST.
Ooh.
Wednesday, you can get some news and some gaming, which is really fun. It's mainly just deep dives of like stuff I want to talk about, like in-depth movie reviews where we get to like talk with the audience, which is really fun, and also like bigger news stories. And we're playing the new Jackbox. We're making our way through it, and it's... they got some good games on
there.
there.
New party pack?
Oh, yeah. And then Thursdays, if you guys watch the super TV shows, if we're talking Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Inhumans, Gotham. Sorry, I couldn't keep it together. Titans.
Diminishing returns there.
Titans. We're watching Titans. We actually do a live review of all of those shows, 4 p.m. PST, and also we do some on our Patreon as well to keep it going. The Flash this season's been really good. Legends of Tomorrow is that hidden gem in the CW world that actually barely is a superhero show. It's just delightful. So please join us there. Eric, what about you?
I'm going to take two shout-outs. I'm going to take Mods and Phillips. My first shout-out, so, as you know, in addition to hosting videos here for New Rockstars, I like to do a lot of like live comedy in the LA area. And a month and a half ago, I did my Marvel parody show called Infinity Fan. And guys, the show sold out. And I'm doing a new version of the show in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from today, Infinity Fan, show number 2. It's at the same theater, Acme Theater, North Hollywood. If you live in the LA area, I know some of you have reached out to me because I have that Van Nuys shirt. And some of you are like, I'm a Van Nuys local. I'm like, if you're a local, you better come to my show. It's super funny. And it's a show perfect for you guys. It's filled with like Marvel and DC and Star Wars references. And it's like all the jokes that like I would love to do here, but some of them are just a bit too dark to do here. So I put them in a live show. It's like 45 minutes long. Tickets will be available soon, and you can find info in the description below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram because I'll go into all the details there. Tommy Bechtold is a co-star in it. You've seen him here on the show.
Big fan.
It's super funny. And we have some new cast members and some new sketches that we put in it that are I'm very excited about. For my second one, guys, it's the final weekend. If you live in the United States, if you feel depressed about your life, if you're kind of mad and feel apathetic that like you can't really change your life and the system is rigged against you, you can vote. If you're 18 years old and if you haven't committed a serious crime, you can vote. And I know like you're tired of people telling you that to vote and you feel like it doesn't change anything. But like specifically, you probably heard a lot of the top ballot things to vote on, like who's your senator? Is the Senate going to change? Is the House going to flip? Look at the propositions on your ballot. Pay attention to who your governor might be and who your state senator and state representative, because on the local level, those things affect your life 10 times more than who's in the White House or who's controlling the Senate or the House.
And specifically, California has got a butt ton of ballots,
ballots.
of measures they want to pass, and they are confusing. So just sit down, give yourself 30 minutes. You'll have plenty of time to go over everything, and then just go vote. It takes 2 minutes.
It takes 2 minutes. You get to decide whether we adhere to daylight savings time in California. That's one of the things on the ballot. And every state has a different set of ballots that can control how much you pay in rent, how much your gas is. Like, these are things that you deal with on a daily level.
How much meat is and dairy. That's gonna suck.
And if you live in Florida, my home state, you get to decide whether people who have repaid their debt to society, people who have committed crimes that were not seriously violent or sex crimes, ex-cons, get to have their natural right to vote again. Because in Florida, it's really hard for people who have repaid their debt to society and have been released and are not bad people who are they do everything they can to repay their debt, to be tax-paying good citizens, and the current governor there doesn't let them vote. He just shuts it down. You can change the system. If 60% of Floridians who vote decide to overturn that, we're talking like over 1 million people who live in that state who now get to participate in democracy. You have the chance to help these people out. And no matter where you live, I'm not going to tell you which way to vote. Just like vote so you can have an active participate, right? Okay, so those are our lightning round questions. Let's return to our not lightning round shout outs. I don't know where we are. Shout outs. Let's return to our trivia question that we asked earlier. So as always, the loser will have to join the gift of shame.
Gift of shame.
And we'll see how that works. But let's see what the question was. Once again, it was in Game of Thrones. House Stark was founded by Bran the Builder, who founded House Lannister.
What was Sam's answer?
Sam's answer was my buddy Lance the Spinster.
Lanster?
Lance Spinster. Yeah, that's a good word mashup. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Eric wrote Land the Clever.
And that is the answer, Land the Clever.
Oh, good.
Who famously tricked the former owner of Castle Casterly Rock. I think Castle Rock, Casterly Rock, out of his land ownership, and he stole it from him, and that's the Lannister way.
Yeah,
is to
it does
trick
sound
people
like my
with
buddy
your wealth.
Lance could do that. My buddy Lance is a pretty clever dude, all the way around.
Fortunately, he's not the right one. So it sounds like I was able to pull that one out.
Hold on, we do have a judge.
Oh yeah, Judge, you want to split this decision?
Yes, all right, Eric.
Lance the Spencer. Oops. Yeah.
All right.
So I'll do our goodbyes. Sam will pull a task or a gesture out of the gift of shame box, and we'll have to do it in front of a green screen, of which you guys can take it and put anything behind him when we have our animated gift that we tweet out, and he's gonna look like a real dummy, but you can make him do whatever you want, and I'll chant shame at him while I say our goodbyes.
All right. Well, mine is, just to make sure it makes sense, your hair keeps bursting into flames even after you keep putting it out.
Oh, so spontaneously, whoa, you gotta...
Person who does the social media, see if you can put that on there. See if we can make that work.
Yep. Or you just gotta mime as if that's happening. Yeah, or maybe it will. That's on you guys. Go for it. Okay, so...
When you vote.
Here we go, Sam. Go for it.
I got caught in 7 cables.
Shame. That might be our good gift of just Sam almost tripping and falling to the monitor. All right, Sam, shame. Oh, is your hair on fire? Oh boy. Oh, his jacket? Spreading to his jacket. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this week's episode of New Rockstars News. I would like to thank my co-host Sam Bashor at Sam Bashor on Twitter, and I'm Erik Voss at EA Voss. Whoa, way to commit! Comment down below, tweet us at New Rockstars, like this video, shame, and share this video around. Subscribe to New Rockstars for the deep dives, into all the stuff that you love. Ouch, oh boy. See you guys next week. Bye-bye. What did you do? You hit your head?
I was trying to pat it out.
That's like,
you gotta smother it. All right, well, didn't wash my hair this morning, so we're good, everybody.
You don't need to.
Don't need to.
You're good.
Anymore. It's on my spit.
It's just your spit.
Hey, spit never hurt nobody.